In front of me was a scene I could hardly believe. The president's son was splashing beer on my grandson. My grandson had done nothing to harm anyone. On the contrary, he had been listening to and following the orders of the president's son. The son of the president, who splashed the beer, seemed truly delighted. Witnessing this situation, I felt an unprecedented level of anger rising within me. "Complain to me and you're fired." When I reproached him, he said that calmly. He was using his position as the president's son to threaten others. I couldn't remain silent after that. "Before that happens, you and your father will be fired." When I said that, he looked puzzled. But that was fine. By the time he understood what I meant, it would be too late. My name is John Hanson. I currently work as a janitor at an amusement park. This park is a place where I worked when I was young and is very dear to my heart. Various things happened, and I switched jobs once. But after retiring from the company I had been with, I started working as a temporary janitor. The amusement park is a dreamlike place where both adults and children can smile. I work here, enjoying seeing the smiles of the visitors, and I clean the park every day. However, in recent years, the declining number of visitors has become a major issue. One of the biggest reasons for the decline in visitors is that the management changed 10 years ago. In any business, to satisfy customers, it is necessary to meet their needs. However, the current management does not understand what the visitors to the park want at all. As a result, they are heading in a direction that is contrary to the demanded needs. Originally, this amusement park was themed around retro, which offered an atmosphere like stepping back into the past. Unique compared to other amusement parks. Adults reminisced about the old days, and children enjoyed an atmosphere they couldn't usually experience. However, lately, they have been incorporating modern attractions that completely destroy the retro concept, ruining the unique atmosphere. Most visitors leave dissatisfied. As sales have fallen year by year, the only option has been to cut labor costs, which in turn has led to a decline in service quality. This has accelerated customer departure, causing a vicious cycle where nothing seems to work out. The main person dragging the amusement park in the wrong direction is the president's son, Fred. Fred was a typical nepotism hire. Using his father's power fully, he became the vice president of the company shortly after joining. If he was genuinely trying to improve the amusement park, there might still be hope. But that's not the case with him. Currently, the president is too busy with other businesses to attend to the amusement park's operations, leaving it all to Fred. Fred enjoys having the freedom to do whatever he wants. Recently, due to the decrease in visitors and worsening management, meetings involving all employees are frequently held. However, no matter who suggests improvements to Fred, he refuses to listen. "Fred, we are currently short-staffed, which has significantly reduced the quality of our service. If this continues, we will lose even more customers. Please consider taking some measures." Trying to improve the situation. I actively speak up about improvement points and current problems at meetings. Most employees nod in agreement with what I say. However, Fred just sits there acting superior, ignoring everyone's opinions. Huh? Aren't you just some old janitor? Don't stick your nose where it doesn't belong. He mocks me with those words, and ultimately, the situation fails to improve. As time passes, it becomes spring. My grandson Nathan has just graduated from university. It was a surprise when he told me just before graduating that he had decided to work at the amusement park where I work. Nathan, won't you reconsider? You studied it at university, right? This isn't a place where you can utilize what you've learned. And more importantly, our company is currently in a tough situation. Thank you for your concern, but I'm fine. I've thought it through and made my decision. I opposed his joining the company and pleaded with him to reconsider numerous times. However, Nathan remained steadfast in his decision and eventually joined the company. I really want to help restore this amusement park that you love. Nathan fully understands how much I cherish the amusement park. That's why he wants to help fix it for my sake. Just a month after Nathan joined, the amusement park celebrated its 40th anniversary with a big party. The party, held at a luxury hotel, was attended by all the employees. Although I was just a temporary janitor, I was allowed to attend and sat at the very back. As it was a drinking occasion, many employees enjoyed their drinks and were moderately drunk. However, one person was behaving oddly. It was Fred. Fred, losing control at the party, seemed to be drinking heavily. His face was bright red and his eyes were glazed. "Hey, you, show us some talent." Pointing at the new employees, including Nathan, he demanded they perform on the spot. While many employees were confused by this unreasonable request, Nathan spoke up. "Yes, understood." In response, he started doing impersonations. Nathan is very serious by nature. Thus, trying to fulfill his boss's command, he did his best with the impersonations. However, the impromptu performance unfortunately did not resemble the intended subjects. "What is that? It's not even funny." Laughing at his earnest attempt, Fred approached him and poured beer over his head. Including me, those around were stunned by his sudden action. And Nathan, drenched in beer, was too shocked to move. He had been seriously following Fred's orders and doing his best. Yet, to have beer poured over him was just too cruel. I could still tolerate being verbally abused and ridiculed. But to see my grandson Nathan made a laughingstock and treated so horribly at such a celebratory event, even I have reached my limit. "What are you doing to my grandson?" I raised my voice like never before and protested to him. "Ha, this guy is your grandson, old man?" Even seeing me visibly angry, he showed no concern. Instead, he looked alternately at the still dazed Nathan and me, bursting out laughing while holding his stomach. "Hey, old man, if you complain to me, you and your grandson will both be fired, okay? Is that okay with you, even if your precious grandson becomes unemployed?" Leveraging his position as vice president, he threatened us instead of feeling any guilt for his actions. He thinks it's okay to do anything to us because we are lower in status than him. This outrageously unfair mindset made me feel even more furious from the bottom of my heart. Huh? Isn't that Mr. Hansen? Then I was approached from behind. Turning around, I saw Robert Owen, the president. What's wrong, Mr. Hansen? You've become quite shabby. He had the same unpleasant smile as Fred. Like father, like son. They both share these disagreeable traits. Huh, what? Dad, you know this janitor old man? Yes, that's right. After all, he's the former president who I pushed out. Seriously? Fred laughed heartily upon discovering my true identity. Yes, I am currently a temporary janitor, but in fact, I was the president of this company until 10 years ago. I was overseas for work, but during that time, Robert, who was my right-hand man and executive, betrayed me. Betrayed by someone I trusted, I tasted the greatest despair of my life. Robert had always been a smooth talker. Using his eloquence, he quickly won over the executives during my overseas inspection and took over the management company. We'll need you to leave the company. Realizing the situation, I was dumbfounded, and he told me I was fired, leaving me no choice but to resign. Of course, I was frustrated. But there was nothing I could do once things had come to this point. I gave up and quickly switched to another job. I worked there for several years and took early retirement. Even after changing jobs, I kept in touch only with trustworthy former subordinates. But one day, I was informed that the amusement park was in a precarious financial state. Unable to sit still, I searched for a way to work at the amusement park again and started working as a temporary janitor in disguise. Fred joined the company after I had left. Because our working periods did not overlap, he did not know about me. Additionally, since Robert had been hands-off with the amusement park operations, my true identity had never been discovered until now. Nathan chose this amusement park as his place of employment because he knew I had been the president here. I have always loved this amusement park and often brought Nathan here to play. That's why he understood how much I cared about and valued the amusement park. Thus, he joined this company, wanting to help restore the amusement park for my sake. Hilarious. So you were the founder? But such people are an eyesore. So you guys are fired. After saying that, Fred waved his hand dismissively, trying to shoo us away. I glared at him fiercely. Before that, you and your father will be fired. I spoke to the Owen family in a voice colder than I had ever used in my life. Huh? Us fired? What are you talking about? He must have thought I had lost my mind. Fred was laughing. However, I was perfectly sane. You may not be aware, but I am the majority shareholder of this company, holding over 51% of the shares. As I said that, the expression on Robert, who had been laughing along with him, began to cloud over. In fact, I had been desperately thinking of ways to improve the situation, and somehow I managed to arrange a meeting with the bank, the investor in the amusement park. I was worried that no one would listen to me since I was no longer the president. But it seemed the bank was also concerned about the performance that had been declining since my departure. Therefore, I begged the bank to transfer some of their shares to me. The percentage of shares one holds can make a difference in the authority one has. If you own more than half the shares, you can normally decide on important matters such as dismissing directors and determining the compensation of executives. With this, it would be possible to pull Robert and Fred down from their positions as president and vice president. The discussion with the bank went smoothly in the direction I hoped for, and I managed to have them transfer part of their shares to me. Thus, combining the shares I originally held, I successfully acquired 51%. At this point, no one has more power than I do. I currently hold 51% of the shares. You understand what that means, don't you, President Owen and Vice President Fred? As I asked the two of them, their previous bravado was nowhere to be seen. They looked paler than I had ever seen them before. No, that can't be true. He was barely able to utter a word. You understand, right, Robert? As I asked Robert with a smile, he shook his shoulders significantly, his expression fearful. He must be desperately thinking about how to get out of this situation in his mind. But at this point, I have no intention of forgiving them. There had been chances for them to change their hearts before. I had met Fred at meetings several times, and each time I conveyed the current state of the amusement park and strongly appealed for improvements. But it was Fred who had long dismissed the words of an old man like me as irrelevant. Even if he now admits he was wrong and apologizes to me, I have no intention of forgiving him. Given his high pride, as he had always mocked me as an old man, he would never lower his head to me. While calmly thinking such things in my head, I ignored the two of them and walked up to the stage. Everyone, for the revival of the amusement park. I will expel the Owen family and implement reforms, I declared loudly, raising my voice. Though everyone was surprised when I suddenly took the stage. When I made my declaration, the whole venue erupted. Honestly, with the management deteriorating to this extent, no one is enjoying the benefits. No matter how hard they work, their salaries do not increase. On the contrary, I've heard employees say that even the amount of their annual bonuses continues to decrease. In such an environment, how can anyone feel motivated about their work? The only ones satisfied with the current situation are those like Fred, who can act however they like. Upon hearing my declaration, the employees looked at me with shining eyes. It seems that many employees felt hopeful that the work environment was about to change. The supportive atmosphere among the employees was comforting to me. Seeing the response from the staff, if the environment is changed to be more conducive to work, they will surely work harder than ever. Thankfully, including Nathan, there are a reasonable number of young employees who, if nurtured, could become pillars supporting the company in the future. Once the Owen family is expelled, I am confident that things will move in a better direction. A few days later, an extraordinary shareholders meeting was held to decide on the treatment of the Owen family. Of course, as the leading shareholder, I participated. At this meeting, I exposed all the terrible management practices of the Owen family without omission. Fred indulged in his power and acted capriciously, ignoring the words of those around him. He repeatedly threatened anyone who opposed him with his power. I also presented data showing how his insistence on his own ideas led to financial distress. I believe I was able to explain this clearly to the executives. I pursued Robert for betraying me, unjustly ousting me from the company, and for his failure to manage properly by appointing his incapable son as vice president. The Owen family, not wanting to give up their positions, desperately tried to rebut my statements, but their arguments were weak, and no one believed what they said. After exposing all their misdeeds to the shareholders and the executives, I, as the leading shareholder, demanded their dismissal. The motion passed, and the dismissal resolution was approved. With Robert's dismissal, the position of president would become vacant. There, a resolution for me to return as president was also passed on the spot, and I returned to the presidency. I wasn't particularly attached to the position of president. However, the current situation of the amusement park is perilously unstable. Immediate action was necessary, and that would be difficult for anyone who didn't deeply understand the amusement park. That's why I was chosen. Since returning as president, I have been very busy with the reconstruction of the amusement park. Amidst the business, I was informed by my subordinates about what happened to the Owen family after their dismissal. Both father and son, originally very prideful, had become unemployed. They seemed desperate to find new jobs, but it wasn't going well. Robert is older, and it would be difficult for him to find a job with conditions similar to before. As for Fred, although he is still at an age where he could turn things around, his problematic personality. He doesn't listen to others and always wants to be on top. So it's unlikely he could work under someone else at this point. Furthermore, I heard that Fred was seen wandering around the drinking district every day, drowning himself in alcohol. This situation must have hit him hard, driving him to escape into alcohol. For a moment, I felt pity for him. But remembering all the verbal abuse and atrocious behavior he had directed at me, I could only see it as karma. Besides, I don't have time to spare a thought for the Owen family now. In pursuing reforms for the amusement park, I decided to review the ridiculous attraction expansion plans that they had been planning. Looking through the plans for attractions themed on outer space or pirates, which completely ignored the world view of the amusement park, I couldn't help but sigh. Our amusement park is prominently touted as a retro park. Yet why do they keep making plans that are so out of sync with the concept? The first thing I started was revising this unplanned and chaotic attraction expansion. Even if we add more attractions, if they're all out of sync with the concept. We can't satisfy the people who seek a retro experience. Believing that the revival of the amusement park would require a significant period, I made the bold decision to close the park for 6 months. While the park is closed, we won't generate revenues since we can't admit customers. However, we can use this limited time to create an amusement park that will attract many visitors again. Lend me your strength, Nathan. Leave it to me, Grandpa. In seeking assistance for the revival of the amusement park, not only did I turn to the bank, our financier, but my grandson Nathan was also one of those I asked for help. The exterior will be restored to its former retro style, while incorporating new elements to keep our longtime customers from getting bored. That's when I thought of using modern technologies, including VR. I lack knowledge in modern technologies. In contrast, my grandson Nathan has specialized knowledge in it from university and is very knowledgeable. I will lead the design efforts. I will leave the technical aspects to Nathan. Nathan and I, as the main figures, along with all the employees, work together to rebuild the amusement park. Previously, under Fred's control, there were only disinterested people. But now, freed from that, everyone has regained their motivation. Everyone actively shares ideas, and we incorporate good ones into our creations. Nothing was useful when talking to Fred, but it's different now. The current environment, where good ideas are adopted, seems to have inspired many employees. An amusement park is a place of dreams. I want those who work here to enjoy their jobs. Taking advice from the bank, the amusement park we all built together, although I say it myself, turned out very well. The appearance, fitting for the retro concept, stands out. Inside, we've sprinkled elements of the old era, creating an atmosphere where adults can reminisce about the old days. The attractions incorporating its technology, spearheaded by Nathan, are refreshing to experience and likely to be addictive for many. The 6-month period was busy and flew by in a blink. Looking back on the days spent fully committed to reforming the amusement park, it feels like it was a more substantial period than just 6 months. Right now, in front of me is the culmination of our efforts, created together by everyone. I felt deeply moved, and tears nearly came to my eyes. Grandpa, are you about to cry? The reopening is tomorrow. Save the tears for when you see the customers smiling. Right, yeah. I shouldn't cry in front of my grandson. I calmed myself and held back the tears. On the day of the reopening, we distributed flyers in the neighborhood and ran commercials within a limited area, which brought in many visitors. Many people were smiling at the amusement park. This was exactly the sight I wanted to see. As I walked around the park, paying attention to the customers' reactions, the expressions of those enjoying the attractions were much better than before the renewal. With this, the dwindling visitor numbers should gradually increase. Feeling the effectiveness of the renewal, I resolved to continue managing the park in a way that keeps entertaining our customers. Perhaps the ordeal with the Owen family made me feel this more profoundly than ever. It took over a decade to reach this point, but having seen the sight I wanted to see once more, I savored the fulfilling sense of contentment